a portion of his rap at the chorization is supported like a pack of some more observations are important like the fact that we're bored of fake shit. More creative has the floor, so take it. Travel to the core is a normal placement. Tattoos on my
Afternoon, all my friends. This is a good Monday. I feel good about it. I hope you do too. We got a lot to talk about today for several reasons. I'm going to get right into it. You're listening to Tattoo with Children. I'm your host, Flavor Rand Seed A. Across from me and Seed B is Dread Power Benjamin. And across from us both is, oh my God. It is indeed CIO No Payne, conquering hero, back from parts abroad, sitting in seat C.
Arkansas is kind of abroad, isn't it?
I had no idea where the fuck you went. I'll be quite honest with you. I had no clue where you were. I knew you weren't here, and that was enough to annoy me. But other than that, I did know. Honestly, Mike, I want to hear everything about your vacation. I want to hear about what you did. I want to hear about the things that you saw. I want to hear mostly about the foods that you ate. But before we get into any of that, this is a Monday. And what does Flavor Ray like to talk about on Monday? What's his favorite subject on a Monday when he comes on the podcast? Anybody know?
Football. This podcast is going to totally suck after the Super Bowl, isn't it?
Oh no, it's going to be great. It's going you don't understand how great football was this weekend. Apparently, so let's start with the good news. The good news is the Houston Texans were tested by the Lord Himself. Okay. They were given a challenge by the Almighty, and they were found to be completely up to that challenge. They won a stunner, a shocker in overtime. It was a thriller. Mm-hmm. My man Deshaun Jackson was in the grasp.
He experienced what I would consider to be a modern-day miracle.
I would agree with that wholly. I would agree with that totally.
I have watched that play several times since it occurred.
Yep.
And I still don't entirely know what happened.
Well, he was flushed out. He went backwards. He was caught and surrounded. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is, completely. He's in the grasp. They have him.
Right.
They threw him backwards, and somehow he caught one foot, spun around, looked to his to his right, rolled about a half a foot, and just threw towards the sideline.
So the last time someone was that surrounded, though, was the Battle of Little Bighorn.
Yes, and that motherfucker died.
All those bitches died.
He was surrounded. He threw to the sideline. I believe he saw the receiver there, but I cannot be sure of it because he threw directly to the sideline.
Yeah.
And the guy just happened to be there, caught the ball, and had a big gain.
Yeah.
And the Texans survived.
Yeah, they did. It was awesome.
It was awesome. They should have lost that game because they should have won in the fourth quarter. Like that's the bad news. The bad news is they were supposed to win before the overtime.
Right.
But unfortunately, our coach still can't get out of his own way. Like I really don't know what to say about that guy.
Well, and this is where I get a little frustrated with media because they keep putting up things like facts.
Yeah.
At the wrong time. It's like you lie the rest of the year.
Why all of a sudden?
Why all of a sudden you got to say when Houston is down by 16 or up? No, I think it was when Houston is down by 16. That coach is 0 for 22.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
That's like the most impressive stat I've heard all year.
That may be the greatest stat in football right now.
I was just like, Jesus, fuck, we're screwed.
It looked bad. And quite honestly, I wasn't holding on any hope for a victory. The fact that because I was at work, I wasn't watching the game.
Right, but you didn't know this.
Which part did I know?
2 shinobi from the Hidden Pine Village were working their jitsu hardcore.
Oh, they were there.
No.
Okay.
We were here.
They were here.
No, we were working our jitsu
just
from here.
Doing the hand signs.
Right. So what happened was we were kind of getting stomped just a little bit.
A little
right?
bit.
Well, at one of the breaks between tattoos, Marky sat down and pulled up a chair.
Okay.
And the Texans either scored a touchdown or had a turnover or kicked a field goal. I can't remember which.
Uh-huh.
Okay? She looks up at me and says, "So I can't get up now, can I?" And I said, "No, you pretty much have to stay in that chair. That's the rules of being a fan of a football team
Right.
in the playoffs." And she's like, "Oh, okay, well, is that going to be okay? Like we're in the middle of a flash day." And I'm like, "Oh, no, we'll handle it. Like you have to stay here watching the game." Like, you know. So now she's in the office watching the game. Well, what I had forgotten was that when that started, I was not in the office. So I kept going back to the office, right?
Uh-huh.
So I kept going back to the office, but then I realized that I was actually working the lobby, right?
Right.
So I had to go back and stay in the lobby. I couldn't be outside, couldn't be in the office, had to work the lobby. She had to stay in the lobby watching the game. And then I pulled up my Twitter to put up a little thing about it, and realized that I had posted before the game that I was going to get the Houston Texans tattooed on me because they show up and play.
Right.
So what I did was start drawing the Texans logo, making the stencil, getting the whole situation set up for as soon as she was done
To put that on you.
she could come tattoo the Texans logo on me. And that is exactly what happened because we ended up winning.
That is exactly what happened. Like, guys, like, I mean, it's not as if I am a super fan of any professional sports team.
Right.
Okay? Like, I don't get real salty about, like, I have nothing against the Buffalo Bills. In fact, I quite like them. I also like the Kansas City Chiefs, by the way, who the Texans play next. So I'm not going to be terribly upset if they lose. It wouldn't have been terrible if they lost last Saturday, but the fact that they won in such a manner, it was the manner in which they won. Like, I enjoy the stories of the games, and the story of that game is so good. It's because this kid Deshaun Jackson, you got to understand about Deshaun. Deshaun has been playing football like that since he was like 5. Like, he was surrounded, sacked. And he went back to 5-year-old Deshaun. Mm-hmm. What would 5-year-old Deshaun do? 5-year-old Deshaun didn't know how to quit. He didn't know what fear was. He wasn't afraid of bruises or, ligament tears or sponsors. He just found the guy and threw the ball.
Right.
I mean, that to me makes me happy that there's still a game called American football. Now, you've got the good news. Here is the better news. The better news is that another football game was played that same day. It was between the New England Patriots,
right,
and honestly, a team that comes closest to my arch enemy.
Okay.
The Tennessee Titans.
Really?
Because they were the Houston Oilers.
Because they abandoned you.
Yeah.
This goes back to childhood abandonment.
Exactly. Because the Houston, you gotta understand, me and the Houston Oilers we were closer than hallways. I mean, we were tight.
I thought Warren Moon was your dad for a while.
Dude. If Warren Moon had came to Lufkin when I was a kid, I would have definitely tried to convince my mother to leave my dad for Warren Moon.
Right.
The fact that they left Houston and went to Tennessee has been a very sore spot for me for a very long time. And I was very not holding out much hope they'll win that game against the Patriots. And they won that game against the Patriots.
Yeah, they did.
And so now the New England Patriots got knocked out of the wild card round of the playoffs. And this is, in fact, the end of that Patriots dynasty. Like, it's official. It's the end of the Patriots dynasty, and I know exactly why. So, Tom Brady is an older football player. I won't say he's an old man because he's a little bit younger than me or a little bit older than me. But he is definitely an old for a football player, and he's showing all of that age right now. And I don't think that's going to change. Now, you would say, well, they still got Bill Belichick, right? Bill Belichick is a genius, the hoodie, and all that. Here's the thing about Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick has spent the last, 2 decades molding Tom Brady into the greatest quarterback of all time. And Tom Brady has also molded Bill Belichick into the guy who is coaching Tom Brady. Now that Bill Belichick can't coach Tom Brady to victory, he doesn't really have anything else to coach. Like this dynasty has ended. It's over.
Right.
Like, I can watch Super Bowls from now on without fear.
Right.
I can just watch football with impunity.
Yeah, a lot of people were talking about how Tom Brady can't go out on this note, but I actually don't think it's Tom Brady who needs to consider whether or not he's going out on this note. I think it's actually that Bill Belichick needs to go out on this note.
Yes.
If he goes out now as a coach, if he goes ahead and retires, in my opinion, he will be, and this is coming from a place of almost pure fan hatred, he will retire as the greatest coach of all time.
Yes, I would agree with that totally.
And that I'm including Tom Landry and Vince Lombardi and Jerry Johnson.
Yep.
No, Jimmy Johnson.
Jimmy Johnson.
Okay.
You have to include. I mean, even Bill Parcells.
Yeah. No. You have to include Bill Parcells.
He's pretty much better than all of them currently.
Right.
But I believe mostly that is due to the fact that he developed. He was able to develop the greatest quarterback coach tandem of all time.
Yeah.
I mean, there was Bill Walsh and Joe Montana, which they were the greatest quarterback coach tandem of all time. But this quarterback coach tandem is definitely better. And I think that is his downfall if he does not retire. Because, it's one of those things where you have to live your patterns to a certain extent.
Right.
And breaking pattern for him right now would take so much effort. I have no idea. If he were to actually somehow spend the next 5 to 10 years developing a completely new Bill Belichick style of coaching, that would be very, very impressive, but extremely pointless.
I agree, and I'm not entirely sure that he could. And that's not a hack on his character. It's just simply the fact that when you have done something like that and you try to repeat it,
it's the level that he was. It's his level of success.
Right.
To that level of success, I mean, what the fuck are you supposed to do now?
Right.
No,
yeah.
It's crazy.
It's I don't know. Well, it just goes back to I'm not sure that you can do it. I'm not sure that you can say, hey, I crushed the game, but I'm going to crush it again differently now.
Right.
Unless you're a guy like Gary Vee who has made a life, his life has been about chaos.
Well, Gary Vee's life is the game. It's not about winning to Gary Vee. It's about the game to Gary Vee. So if he loses 20 times, he just has if he won 20 times.
Right.
Whereas with Bill Belichick, that's obviously not the case. There's a reason why he doesn't talk to people.
Right.
If he doesn't talk to you when he wins, he doesn't talk to you when he loses. That's all he thinks about.
Right.
So, I really don't think that he can bring this thing out of it. I know for a fact that Tom Brady cannot win the Super Bowl.
Right.
As the quarterback.
Right. Well, and you still haven't brought up probably the greatest news of the weekend, and one of, in my opinion, the reasons that we should not throw Jerry Jones under the bus. While we can all hate him as the owner of the Cowboys,
and we do, and I all hate him as the owner of the Cowboys,
and I appreciate that you say that, but not only did he make the greatest football announcement in the game Sunday while the Philadelphia Eagles were playing. Like, they're literally in the middle of a game, and Jerry Jones is like, hey, guys, I have an announcement about the Cowboys. he announced that he's actually considering a decent coach.
Like, honestly, like, I think it was a good idea for two reasons. One, because everybody already knows he has to get a decent coach. Like that's not news. But two, the fact of the matter is the Philadelphia Eagles were already shitting the bed, and that just kind of rubbed salt in the wounds. And I think Cowboys fans needed that. They needed to get a little bit of revenge back this season. Like the whole idea of we get them next year almost broke Cowboys Nation.
It did.
You know,
it was very, very, very close to breaking the internet.
Yeah, and so like doing that, I think it gives them their swagger back before the next season, before they have to draft somebody and be like, oh well, this draftee is the best. He's going to cure all of our ails. Before they have to tell that lie. They can hold on to this one, because the truth is the Philadelphia Eagles, they shit the bed. They definitely could have gotten over the Seahawks yesterday. Most days they cannot beat the Seahawks. Yesterday definitely could have beat the Seahawks, and they just didn't. I think the NFC East at this point is just recycling loser teams.
Yeah, that.
Fight me for that if you want to. I mean, they're four loser teams, and they're not making each other better. They're just wallowing in their own mediocrity. It's like pigs wallowing in shit. It's disgusting to look at.
Right.
So the fact that they're out of the playoffs makes the league better. They don't have to see that nonsense anymore for this year.
But I gotta say, I don't hate the choice of Mike McCarthy.
No, it's a good idea.
I actually like Mike McCarthy, and one of the reasons I do is I'm going to be a little disappointed if they don't put some serious fucking money on the table.
I don't think Jerry Jones would ever do anything without serious money on the table. That's the thing I like about him.
Yeah. My thing about Mike McCarthy is this. What's the young fucker's name, quarterback for Dallas?
If you hadn't asked me, I told you immediately.
Yeah. Dak Prescott. We love Dak.
Yeah, good guy.
Can't remember his name. He is at the point of his career, though, that I feel like Mike McCarthy will be able to turn him into the superstar he should become.
See, that's the brilliance of the move on Jerry Jones' part, because Mike McCarthy, he's all about his quarterback.
Yes, and he's all about his quarterback doing what he's good at.
Yes.
Not, I'm coming in to teach you.
A system. You're going to mold you into my system.
No. Mike McCarthy is about like, look, you're good at these three things. So we're going to do these three things 500 times a game.
Yes.
It makes the gig perfect. And I got to be honest with you, I hadn't thought of him.
I hadn't either. Like, when I heard, I was like, oh my God, that's fucking brilliant.
And also Mike McCarthy's got, I mean, dude, he dealt with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
He knows how to deal with big ego.
He knows how to deal with big ego. He knows how to deal with that guy that wants to be the leader of the team no matter what.
Right.
Like that was the big thing with Aaron Rodgers, where I have to be leader of the team. I've been behind Brett Favre for too long. Blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And so Mike McCarthy let him run with it, and it was wildly successful.
Right.
Like getting Dak to feel his power in this situation is going to it can potentially Cowboys Nation potentially transform your team from a loser into a contender.
Right.
And from a contender perhaps into a champion.
Right. I think so.
It's one of those things where if it doesn't work, if it doesn't start working, Mike McCarthy has to be able to switch it up.
Yeah.
And that's something that like Jerry Jones has a hard time with that.
He does. Jerry Jones doesn't change quick because, again, this is where people misunderstand. He loves football.
He loves football deeply.
And I think he knows more than most people give him credit for about running a good company.
Yeah, I mean, I do believe still the Dallas Cowboys are the most financially successful team in the NFL.
They are, but they're also second of all sports teams.
Yeah.
Only beaten out, to my knowledge, by Manchester United in the world.
That's pretty incredible.
Okay, so he knows what he's talking about there. Where he struggles is, I think his love of the game is so big that he can't pull back, where he is not as successful.
Yeah. The part that you're not good at, he wants to still be a part of.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us have that issue in a lot of areas of our lives.
We do. We do.
I think that may be a human failing. And again, I should not hate. Like, I really don't hate Jerry Jones. I said that earlier. I don't really hate Jerry Jones. I hate Oklahoma University of Oklahoma. I hate them. I hate Bob Stoops.
Really?
Yeah.
How come?
Oh God, the reasons I hate. There are too many reasons I hate Bob Stoops. We're not gonna get into it.
Okay.
It's what, like, my hatred for the same way that a lot of people hate the Yankees or hate the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
I hate the University of Oklahoma.
Okay.
I always will.
All right.
If in other words, like if a mass shooting happened at the University of Oklahoma, I'd be like, that sucks. That mass shooting happened at the University of Oklahoma. By the way, also fuck Oklahoma. Like, I would have to say that in the same breath.
I got you. I mean, that's a little harsh, but I got you.
It's extremely harsh.
I'm
not proud of it.
It's not unusual for Texans, though.
No, it's not. Like, most Texans don't like Oklahoma as a state.
Right. No, we don't.
I think it was because I know exactly what it was because the years when every year that we did the Red River rivalry, and it was always Oklahoma that kept us one game out from contending for the national championship for UT, which is my college team.
Mm-hmm.
University. I never went to University of Texas, but it was.
Right.
If you live in Texas, particularly on the east side where you pick a team. It's either University of Texas or it's A&M.
Right. It's Texas pride. I get it.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing is, like, I've been really playing around with this idea of fandom. I mean, we talked about it 10 or 20 episodes ago.
Yeah.
And then we mentioned it again when SFA beat Duke.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons that I got this Texans tattoo. It's not that I have been such a big fan of the Texans. I think I'm about to become a big fan of the Texans, even knowing that I expect them to lose next week.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah, I expect them to lose as well. Like, look, I mean, and it's not saying I'm going to be shocked if they win.
No,
I won't be shocked if they win.
No, I won't be shocked if they win, because in the playoffs anything can happen. But I like the notion of Gary V's starting with being a fan of a team when they're down.
Yeah.
And let's be real. Houston is probably 4 to 6 years away from the right coach.
I would say that, yes.
They're 4 to 6 years from figuring out how to hold J.J. Watt's back. I mean, that was almost the most devastating part of yesterday, is seeing how unsynchronous the defense was with him back.
Yeah.
I felt like that was a coaching mistake.
They shouldn't have put him in.
I really feel like if they had brought him in on, like, third down somewhere in the second quarter, he would have been so jazzed up, he would have moved everybody.
You're right.
Whereas it took almost the first quarter going completely wrong for them to get their rhythm back.
Yeah.
And I don't like that as a coach.
Yeah, that was a dude. He made so many mistakes. The head coach of the Texans really has to. He's going to have to look himself in the mirror in the offseason.
Yeah.
And decide what kind of person he wants to be.
Yeah.
Do you want to be that guy that feeds your ego by doing the thing that you want to do, or do you want to win?
Right.
It's like he's going to have to go and consult somebody who's smarter than he is.
Yeah.
Who works harder than he is.
Right.
Hire the guy as an assistant or something.
Right.
And then just be like, dude, after the next 3 seasons, you're going to be the head coach. I'm just bringing you on here to get me through this.
Well, and also I think having the humility to, like you said, to know what you want because so many people want to be right.
Yeah.
And not enough people want to win. This goes back to my old idea that if you realistically want to win, what if, I mean, do you actually, think about this, do you actually have the wherewithal? Let's just make it not about sports for a second.
Yeah, let's get off football and get into this, because this is a subject that's near and dear to my heart. 2020. You know, it's really all about what are we willing to do to meet our goals for this year. We're going to get into that after this break.
Doesn't matter if you're cool or honest, if the quad is all present, better lose a box. Doesn't matter if you're cool or honest, if the quad is all present, better lose a box.
We're back with Tattoo with Children. I want to know, guys, do you want to be winners? Okay, and I don't mean that in the light sense. I mean that in the sense of, do you guys, are you willing to make sacrifices, real painful sacrifices, in order to come out on top?
And I think this is an interesting point, because when I think about it, I know of, let's say, 10 small businesses right now in this town that would say yes to your question.
Instantly.
Yes, I want to be a winner. Yes, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. And then if you said, okay, well, like the Dallas Cowboys with Jerry Jones as the general manager overreaching, okay, what I want to do is I want to bring this heavily tattooed guy in, and I want you to let him run your offense, because what you're really good at, small business owner, is defense.
Yes.
Or you're really good at day-to-day. I want this guy to run your social media.
Right.
They would immediately tell you no.
Automatically. Because that's taking away power from them. And then that means if I'm successful now, it's because of that guy. Not because of me. And I would rather it be because of me than because of that guy.
So what they in fact do is they say, I want to be successful, but really what I want more is to be right.
Yes.
And one of the reasons, and the crazy thing to me about this is, and this is where I'm going to get slightly arrogant, but it's only going to be slightly, which is unusual for me.
That will be that's down 8 notches. Go ahead.
I agree. 100%.
How can you look at the heavily tattooed guy with the crow on his neck, the guy with his hands tattooed,
that guy,
and say, well, I'm just not sure he understands my business, okay?
Right.
When I'm the only guy in the room, okay?
Yeah.
Who put a coffee shop in the list of the top 5 things to do in Lufkin, Texas, over the Lufkin Zoo, Atkinson Candy Company, GE, Lufkin Industries, the mall, Starbucks, Walmart. Like,
guys, like, I know if you don't live in Lufkin, Texas, these are all like the biggest things in town. Like, this is a small town, and the businesses that are big here have been here for 50 years.
Yeah.
You know, but we have a coffee shop here that's been here for, what was the 8th anniversary?
Yeah.
8 years, that is pretty much topping all of them.
And not necessarily in sales, but in the sense of the community talking about it, participating in it, and building it.
Yes.
Now, I would never, ever say I did that by myself.
No.
But it took 30-odd people, and you know, to list them off would be too long.
Yeah, it took a lot of effort from several people.
You know, without Mark Hicks, without Jim Roper, without Sarah Harbuck, without Brian T. Smith,
right?
Without Mike Payne, without Christopher Paul Stelling, without Andrew Harbuck, without you just go down the list. There's no end to the people that I would say, if you take them out, it's not successful. But that's actually what I'm good at.
Yeah.
Actually, what I'm good at is going, look, Karen, I know you don't like Fred, but what do you want more? Do you want to win or do you want to be right? Because if you want to be right, I'm fucking leaving.
Right.
But if you want to win, me and you and Fred got to sit down at a table and get our shit together, because in the next 10 months, okay, we're going to make a fucking $1 million and everyone's going to be talking about this business.
And that's pretty much the call of 2020. Like, it's not as if we don't have enough. See, that's one of the things that I realized in 2019 is that we all actually do have enough of everything that we need. Like, if you just think about it, you know, you tell me you don't have enough time, you do have enough time. You tell me that you don't have enough money, you do have enough money. What you don't have enough is the will to make that sacrifice. In other words, if you take your money and reprioritize it, you know, maybe we have to cut off the phone. Maybe we have to cut off the cable. Maybe we have to downsize our living situation. And maybe we got to do that for 5 years.
Maybe.
But at the end of that 5 years, guess what? We win.
Right.
You know, that's victory at the end of 5 years.
Right. Well, it's not just victory. In general, what I'm looking for is for any individual human, any individual family, any individual business. My goal is not for, let's say, Mike Payne to be successful.
Right.
My goal is for Mike to be in a situation where in 3 years, when the industry completely flips upside down and changes again, my goal is for him to be in a position where not only does that not affect him, but he had his businesses laid out in such a way with multiple income streams to where he could hit the ground running because he had 4 plans in play to anticipate that moment.
Right.
My goal is not for Loud House CrossFit to be successful. My goal is for Loud House CrossFit to be in a position that when the game switches again, and it will again, that Loud House CrossFit to go, oh my goodness, it's looking like Ben kept talking about that Plan F. It looks like, is this the moment for that to be? And all of a sudden they have that income stream that their family doesn't have to make. They're not forced. Let's put it that way. They're not forced into their backs aren't against the wall. Correct. They're in a position where they go, because we looked at business and life this way, we have 3 options and we did that. Yeah. I don't even want them to say my name. Right. I would actually prefer that they didn't. Right. You know, I don't want a piece of their company. Right. I get no joy out of owning companies. That is not my thing. That is true. I get joy out of people having the financial and the spiritual, the financial, the emotional freedom to make their own decisions. Speaking of which, we are now going to segue over to a man who enjoys that spiritual freedom to do as he wishes, and that person is Mike Payne. He's going to tell us all about the adventures that he had in, I guess, Arkansas is where you went. Mm-hmm. I don't know why the fuck you leave tattooed children for a week for Arkansas, of all places, but I guess he's going to explain that to me as soon as we get back from this break.
Everybody dancing, dog, yell on that X, I'm a sentinel, standing tall, no time to stand still, please don't be underdog, they're throwing jazz at me, to challenge my rap savvy, I sway like Callaway, I'm ahead, you'll never catch me, and worry about
back to Tattoo with Children. Mike is going to explain to you why you had to struggle through 3 episodes of complete and utter mediocrity while he went and had fun in the sun. Go ahead, Mike. Talk to the people.
To be fair, it really wasn't sunny. Okay. No, we went to Hot Springs. So if there's any place to go in Arkansas,
it's Hot Springs.
It's Hot Springs.
Is there any other place to go? Well, there is a place called Hope.
Yes, you can go. You can go see what it was like to be the birthplace of Bill Clinton, if that's what you choose to do.
Well, I'm trying to think of something you could possibly do in Arkansas.
There's a river market in Little Rock. We actually visited
the river market.
the river market.
What? Son?
Oh yeah. No, it's terrible.
Why, can I ask?
Why Arkansas?
With respect, why did your wife want to go there?
Okay, so hot springs is kind of a tradition in the family.
Okay.
There's quite a few little resorts there,
In Hot
it being
Springs.
Hot Springs, and
Okay, is it called
we were
Hot
able-
Springs because there are springs there that are hot?
yes.
Okay.
So like this is actually a place where in the 20s and 1920s, and all the way up through the 40s and 50s, heavily visited by mafia.
Oh,
presidents.
really? Oh, yeah. Okay.
So it was a big hopping place for.
So they've been enjoying that mob money for the last 100 years.
So
You have to tell us more about this because this is a place that Flavor Ray and I will never go.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
So I actually did not do very much on this trip at all. We've gone a couple times, but on this particular trip, I worked a lot.
Okay. All
So
right.
I was sitting at my computer most of the time and just kind of being away from the area.
What did your family do? Were they are they soaking in the hot springs? Is that what happened in Hot Springs, Arkansas?
Yeah, well, so when you do that sort of thing, what you do is you can go to any one of the bathhouses.
Oh God, that
Okay.
sounded awful immediately.
Yeah.
I wish you would not have said bathhouses.
Bathhouses. Is what they
Can't you
call
say
them.
spa, motherfucker? Bathhouses.
You want to hear something even worse? At least one of these bathhouses has been converted to a brewery.
So I'm picturing your family, your wife and children, in a pool of human stew with a bunch of like Russian mafiosos.
Yeah, this is the time.
Patting
This is the
themselves
type
with
of
birch
thing
leaves?
you don't take children to.
You don't. Oh, God.
Literally, most of
And
these
then-
bathhouses are separated men and women. And
Okay.
you get in there, and you are at best in a towel.
Yes, people.
And then-
I'm trying not to vomit
and
too.
Then, once the people leave, right, the proprietors make beer out of this,
Oh my God.
which would explain what's wrong with Mississippi. Because I assume Arkansas sells this beer to Mississippi.
God damn it, Arkansas.
Continue the story, Mike.
So,
This is nothing to do with any of your chamber of
so
commerce
really,
there, Hot
honestly,
Springs.
what the family did was they went to a few science museums. It's in the Ozark Mountains, so
Okay.
going up to
right.
the tower at the top and viewing the windy day. I took at one point at this. There's a couple little playgrounds, and just took the kids over and let them play, and things like that. Just nothing. It was not a terribly exciting trip.
Were you at a hotel or a resort? Where were you?
Resort. We were at a resort, the Sun Bay Resort, which is kind of outdated. It was kind of funny. I say it's outdated, and when people like in our age group think of an outdated resort, you think it looks like it's out of the 70s or the 80s.
Right.
This was outdated. It was out of the 90s.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's just like it's not bad, right?
Right.
But this is the house I grew up in.
Yeah,
sort
but
of
in
style.
but in 1994, it was a big hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was all brand new.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's only like 30 years ago at this point.
So the crazy thing about it is we get into this little, like we actually got, for me and the wife and a couple of the kids, we got a 2-bedroom little condo place like right on the lake. And we go into the master bedroom and we look up and the entire ceiling is mirrored.
Nice.
Jesus Christ. This sounds so fucking skeezy. It sounds
is
so awful.
hokey.
It's like bathhouses, mirrored ceilings, and yeah, bring your kids. No, Mike, don't do that shit.
Man, I really wish I wouldn't have.
I don't know though, Ray. Like it also sounds like after Deliverance was made, like City Hall was like, we need to do something to work on our
image has to improve a little bit, guys.
Let's put mirrors on the ceiling.
We might have made a mistake with this whole deliverance thing.
Like the entire point of this trip was simply to make use of some timeshare points that needed to be used, at the end of the year here.
Yeah, I'm feeling it.
And just to get away from, like, it's basically a staycation that's not local.
Yeah.
It's the 4.5 hour drive.
Well, and that's completely worth it just because, like, the feeling between Christmas and New Year's is complete, like,
malaise.
Like draining.
Yeah.
Like you're trying to do business with people, but they're like, yeah, Ben, I'll get back to you on the 5th of January.
Exactly. Like no one wants to do, like, it's if New Year's was a week-long holiday.
Yeah.
Rather than just a moment.
Right.
Well, one of my clients was like, the 23rd, just before Christmas, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Supposed to have a meeting, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, well, some people will be here. This person's going to lead it, and they're like, well, they asked me, are you going to be there? I'm like, I'll be there. I'm not. This is what I do, and I'm remote, and then my flexible schedule is flexible, so I go and get on that call, and no one shows up.
Yeah.
It's just you.
It's just me. I sat there for a half an hour just waiting for it.
Mike's like, somebody's coming. I know they are.
Just any minute now.
Yeah.
They're going, no, it's that lasts until today.
Yeah,
actually. Today is the first day everybody's back.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I respect that though. I mean, I'm still not totally okay with the Arkansas part. But
I'm okay with the staycation.
But I do respect that, like, it was like, hey, let's get out of town and get our heads right.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
It would have been a lot better if we could have found one in like Shreveport.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, I get it.
You have the kids are there. We can't get rid of the kids,
Right.
Yeah.
And as far as I know, society looks down upon daycare places inside of casinos. So
Right.
It's definitely one of those things that give you the side eye.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing is, like, Ray and I are giving you shit, but it's all in good fun because in reality, like, you have a 15-year-old and then
an 8-year-old. And then a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old.
Yeah, I mean,
You got a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old.
I mean, the only other place you can go is like Ohio.
Yeah, I mean, there's not like actually, you can go. You'd have to drive way far.
Yeah.
Or fly way far.
Yeah.
In order to find, like, I understand, like, I give a shit about Disney because I give everybody shit about Disney, but I understand the appeal of Disney.
Yeah.
Because at
There's
Disney,
stuff for the kids to
stuff
do
for the kids
every
to
day,
do, and stuff for me to do every day.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Right.
so, yeah, that's I do get it. And what you did was exactly what I tell everybody to do, which is self-care.
Yeah.
You went there to take, like, you were still working, but you were working in a less stressful environment than at home and here.
Right.
Home and here. So
The biggest
kudos.
thing I probably did was New Year's Eve. We went to the Arlington, which is the big old hotel, like the centerpiece of Hot Springs.
Okay.
And we paid to do their. I paid for the family to have the buffet dinner, and it
Naturally.
was decent. You know,
Yeah.
I did try their sliced salmon, what people in the Northeast would call lox.
Lox. Delicious.
And it is about what you'd expect in the middle of Arkansas.
Not great.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's got that little bit of rubbery thing to it that lox really shouldn't have. Lox should like almost smush apart. Correct.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have no rubberiness to it. But the rest of the meal was good.
Like, I don't know, I don't know what Arkansas, the flavor of Arkansas. What do people in Arkansas eat? I have no clue.
What they would probably call barbecue.
Oh, that's
which is not, it's
That's
not what you
too
go
bad,
for.
Arkansas. Like this podcast is not great for Arkansas.
No.
Like-
Well, they kept saying we need to move to Hot Springs. I'm like, I'm not living in Arkansas. And they're like, why not? Because it's Arkansas. Why would you want to live here?
It doesn't have a real name for a state.
There's a state tax, and it's Arkansas.
It's
Yeah.
Kansas with AR at the beginning. Like that's your name of your state. It's. And by the way, if you have a town and there's hot springs there, you gonna name the fucker Hot Springs?
Right.
I mean, seriously?
They didn't have the most creativity in the world, but Mike brings up an interesting point, and I was going to get your impression, Ray, because
Sure.
you got to drop by Black Spot Tattoo Company on Saturday.
I did, just briefly.
But no, it was like, I mean, you were here for all of a minute 55 seconds.
Yes.
But do you want to tell us in that minute and 55 seconds what you experienced?
In a minute, what I did was I drove up in my big truck, and I saw Ben outside talking to some people, and I pulled up and said, "Hey Ben, are there chicken wings here?" And Ben, stunned because I just appeared behind him, he goes, "Well, they're cooking now," and I whipped my car in and jumped out, ignored everyone else, and ran towards chicken wings. And I had my friend Steve Ellis of Ellis Plumbing was cooking chicken wings in the back, and I was extremely impressed with what I saw. He made some buttermilk chicken wings with 4 different sauces, one of which was a genuine, delicious Nashville hot chicken sauce that could have been straight out of Prince's. If you know Nashville, do you know what I'm talking about? It could have been straight from the source, and he did the damn thing that night. Anybody that showed up on Saturday, they got to partake of great food. They got a value tattoo.
Yeah.
They got a value deal.
Well,
on
we
tattoos
were
that night.
we were doing a flash day just to kind of get the gear kicked off, and it went fantastic. We had a really great time.
All artists were in house.
Yeah, all the artists were here. Megan was doing tarot in the back, so she would come out, talk to people, take someone back, read their cards, get their New Year situated, and then meantime, like every 45 minutes. Steve Ellis is bringing in a new batch of chicken wings, and so we had like the buffalo.
You had the garlic pepper.
The garlic parmesan.
Parmesan, that's it, garlic parmesan.
And then we had the honey barbecue.
Honey barbecue, and then the Nashville hot.
The Nashville hot. And by the way, I don't know if it's too late because it's only Monday at noon, but we closed all those up and put them in the fridge.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely getting those.
Yeah, because otherwise they're just going to sit there for like 6 months.
Yeah, that's not happening. I'm taking them out of here.
Flavor
Okay.
Ray and I will take care of that.
Okay, all right. Yeah, if y'all will take care of that. Because it was, and then Steve's family, some of Steve's family came by and hung out. That was dope. Their kids were in from college and different things.
And guys, if you don't know anything about Steve Ellis is a great guy. He's a plumber by trade, and he used to work for a large plumbing company. Until
Well,
he
it's
got-
his uncle.
his uncle's plumbing
Yeah.
company, and then he got tired of not working for himself, and so he started his own plumbing company. It's Ellis Plumbing.
With his uncle's blessing.
It wasn't a acrimonious parting. It was he just wanted to do his own thing.
Yeah.
And so he's got Ellis Plumbing now, and I have sampled his work. My father-in-law decided to fix my sink.
Yeah.
And the results, the results are now potentially internet famous because it was
the
so
Catholic
great.
Church did deem them unholy.
Yes,
They didn't quite make demonic the work that your father-in-law did, but they were unholy.
it looked absolutely atrocious. And
Yeah.
so I called up Steve Ellis, and I said, Steve, could you help me out with?
Yeah.
And I showed him a picture, and he went, I will quote him. He said, "What the fuck is that? I'm on my way."
Right.
And so he showed up, and he fixed my sink.
Yeah.
It looks great now. It works perfectly.
Yeah.
And I recommend Steve Ellis over anybody else in town. And we have 3 or 4 plumbing companies in town, some which are very good. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
We have good plumbers in town.
We do.
But I recommend Steve Ellis.
Well, and a lot of them, like I know Moxie Plumbing, they're friends of the podcast too. They do a great job.
I've known Moxie Plumbing for a long time. They're great guys.
The problem with them is they're generally out of town.
Yeah.
They're hustling so hard, they're all over the place.
I didn't,
Yep.
and I would have. I honestly, it was a toss up between Steve Ellis and Moxie about who I was going to call.
Yeah.
But I knew Steve was right here.
Right.
Like I just saw Steve.
Right.
Whereas I knew that the last time I'd heard from Moxie Plumbing, they were like knee deep in a hole somewhere.
Right, exactly.
So I was like, I'm not going to bother them with this. I'm just going to see if Steve can help me out.
Yeah.
But they are great guys.
I had Steve come over and take care of my bathroom faucet
Yeah.
for the bathtub.
Yeah.
And I just want the audience to know that I'm the type of person who would try to do anything himself at least once. And this is both a great and terrible quality that I have.
It is definitely a terrible quality, yes.
So, but I was convinced to not attempt to do this myself. And Steve took care of it. And as I sat there and tried to play assistant and help him out and watched him do the work, I am 100% glad I called him.
Yeah.
Oh, holy crap.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's that plumber that he's not there to hamstring you. He's not there to make more money than he needs.
Right.
He's only there to get your situations working the first time. He's trying to get it done the first time, and he's going to check back with you later on the next day and say how did it work, or the next 2 days. Or
Right.
He's going to make sure that his work holds up.
Just make sure that you don't hold it against him that he knows us. Because he's a consummate professional, which
is.
we are not. We are.
I am.
We are professional pirates.
Oh, Mike is.
Yeah, no, Mike is, but that's
Mike
clearly
is.
why Mike doesn't talk on this podcast very much, because Mike is also a professional, and you and I literally just do I don't know what we do.
I don't know what we do,
Yeah.
but whatever we do it here on Tattoo with Children. What you've been listening to, Tattoo with Children. I've been your host, Flavor Ray. You can find Tattoo with Children on Facebook at Tattoo with Children. You can find us on IG at Tattoo with Children. You can find us on Twitter at Tattooed With. You can find me on Twitter at Hunter Vanguard. That's one word, Hunter Vanguard. You can find me on IG at Madara Shadow. You can find Ben on IG at Black Crow Brother. You can also find him at Black Spot Tattoo Company. And you can find Mike Payne, who was here to hear me say it for the first time in a week. You can find him on CIO Payne on IG and at Payne.points. That's Payne spelled Payne. And if you are of the mind, we still do have that Patreon up. It's only $5. It will help me out if you just drop that $5.
Do it.
Just go ahead. Just go to patreon.com and search for Tattoo with Children. See my eyes.
You know, have you put up all the artwork I've been doing? Because I've been sending you pictures. That may be why people aren't joining.
You have been sending me pictures.
That's right.
Like I see them and they're so dope. Like am I giving it to them for free?
No, you're not
If I
giving it
do
to
it,
them for free.
if I
Put it
give
on
it to
the
them for
put it on a $50
All right.
level.
Okay, yeah. I'm Ben's artwork is going to be available.
I made a Gary V one today, and it's fucking rad.
It is dope as fuck.
Ben is a great artist. Like this is probably the first year of his life that he's actually, that is dope. This is the first year of his life that he's actually going to admit that he's a great artist. And so help him out and go ahead and sign up for that Patreon. And other than that, guys, just keep listening. You're all my friends, and make sure that you take care of yourself before you take care of everybody else. And remember that I definitely love you.
See you guys.
Later.
We were born to bring it back, but it's more than basic. It's a portion of its rap, but the core is ancient. It's supported like a pack